If you have fear of flying, I promise that by the end of this video, you'll feel calmer, more informed, and a lot safer. I'm Veronica and I'm a former flight attendant. I spent 10 years in the skies, trained for every possible emergency. And I saw firsthand how much happens behind the scenes to keep you safe. So today, we're going to talk about why flying feels scary and why it really isn't. To begin with, I want to validate your fear of flying. And I'll tell you why I want to validate it. It's because I used to be afraid of flying too. Yes, your flight attendants sometimes are a little scared of flying too. And I'll even tell you a quick story. During my first month or two of flying, I want to say especially the first month. By the second one, I was doing better. But during the first month, I was really scared. But after I saw everything that actually goes on the aircraft, I started feeling better. So in order to validate your fear of flying, I'll tell you that fear of flying is completely normal. You're thousands of feet in the air, in a metal tube. I get it. But here's the truth. Flying is the safest form of transportation. Yes, safer than driving, than riding a train, or crossing the street. And I know that there are news of plane crashes, and we usually tend to think, it's not safe. But plane crashes make the news because they're so tragic and because they're so rare. But the truth is that, yes, flying is the safest form of transportation. And if you're wondering why, the answer is because aviation is obsessed with safety. Every tiny thing is calculated, monitored, and tested over and over again. So when a flight incident happens, it makes the headlines. But what you don't always hear is what happens afterwards. And what happens is that every incident is investigated in extreme detail. Nothing gets swept under the rug. If a screw was lost, if a checklist was skipped, if a system glitched, it gets documented, it gets reported, and it gets fixed. And that's why aviation keeps evolving. Incidents, as rare as they are, make future flights even safer. Another thing that you have to think about when you're flying is that your crew is ready for anything. And I really mean anything. See, flight attendants are not there just to serve your meal. Serving the meal, having a nice service, and a nice time on board, that's a plus. They're primarily there for your safety. Flight attendants are trained firefighters. They handle medical emergencies, de-escalate conflicts. I've done a lot of that. And evacuate an entire plane in less than 90 seconds. I'm not only talking about, the time when we're trained to do this, but I'm also talking about what happens before every flight. Because you don't just wake up, put a little makeup on, and go to the flight. Not at all. Before every flight, every single piece of safety equipment on board is checked to make sure that it's up to standards. Emergency positions are assigned, your position and everything around it is checked. There's briefing with pilots, there's briefing with your own little team inside the aircraft. Flight attendants don't just walk and wing it. Wing it, get it? Rest assured, you're flying with professionals who have been trained, drilled, and certified to keep you safe. I remember I had around 3 licenses that I had to carry with me all the time and that I had to renew every year. And in order for me to renew it, I had to go through tests, not only theoretical, but also practical, in real simulators that looked a lot, to not say the same, as the actual aircraft. Honestly, the training is just crazy. But trust me, you feel ready for anything in life after that training. I'll give you another reason why you should feel completely safe about flying. Modern aircraft are built to handle more than you think. They have multiple backups for almost everything: power, hydraulics, navigation, even engines. If something fails, there's a backup. And on top of that, you got your pilots who are trained to handle it all. Planes today are basically flying computers. They self-monitor, self-report, and they communicate constantly with the ground. Also, your pilots are constantly in communication with the ground and looking at the nearest airports throughout the whole flight in case that they need to land for any reason. Something that should also make you feel safer about flying is that airlines are held to really strict international laws. Every crew member, every engineer, every staff member is tracked. Before your plane takes off, it's been inspected. The pilots have reviewed every single detail, and I've actually seen this in real time many times. If the flight isn't 100% right or ready to go, the flight doesn't go. People's careers, nay, people's lives depend on that accountability. So trust me, nobody's taking any chances. You're allowed to feel nervous. But now, I hope that you understand that flying is built on layers of training, technology, law, and care. And I also want to give you a little tip for the next time you fly. Tell your flight attendant that you're a bit of a nervous flyer. I've had so many passengers tell me this, and the way they trained us to handle the situation would be if someone tells you they're a nervous flyer, make sure everyone's informed about it and that you check on this person to make sure they're okay. It's okay to tell your flight attendants. That's what they're there for. I used to go back and check on all of my passengers who used to tell me we're nervous flyers during the flight after a turbulence, or even just walking by and just, throwing a little thumbs up to make sure they're okay. Your flight attendant wants to know, trust me, and it'll make you feel better. So next time you're on a plane, take a deep breath, look around, and know that you, my friend, are in safe hands. I'll see you next time.